Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be very, very interesting. This is Carter Page, and essentially he was told to falsify testimony. He was told to say things that were not true to help an elaborate scheme known as the myth of Trump working with Russia to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Now, we know really quickly, from a really wonderful YouTuber, Shoe on Head, that this is just a fantastic graphic that she shared. She has 1,200,000 subs. She's fantastic. She's awesome. And I really like her work, actually. She's awesome. Should Hillary Clinton run for president in 2020? Friends, we're still reeling from the 2016 presidential election. Even though Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by almost 3 million votes, Donald Trump won because of Russian interference. We don't think that's fair. What if Hillary had another shot? What does this have to do with Carter Page? It has everything to do with Carter Page. Why do you think Carter Page was surveilled unlawfully and almost certainly illegally? Why do you think all of this took place, ladies and gentlemen, so Beto O'Rourke could eat soil and dirt in front of a national audience? So Elizabeth Warren can fail her DNA test again? Why? So Kamala Harris can talk about doing an activity that she sent people to jail for and then laughing about it. For what reason? So Biden can continually, it's beyond gaffes. Biden doesn't want to be there. I feel bad for the guy. Biden makes Mueller look like the sharpest tool in the shed, and Mueller was like, what? Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson? Who are those people? What does that even mean? Glenn Danzig? I love the Misfits. He didn't even know the firm and the CEO of the firm that was outsourced by Clinton to purchase the Steele dossier. Now, Carter Page was surveilled. The FISA warrants, we're going to get the IG report coming out very soon, in the next couple of weeks. And the IG report is going to say that they had no reason to surveil Carter Page. They used a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton, and they used a CrowdStrike assessment from a firm that was outsourced by Democrats. The United States government never looked at DNC servers. Not one major pundit was saying that Clinton was going to lose because of Facebook ads from Russia. Not one major pundit was saying, oh yeah, the DNC emails that forced Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign in disgrace were going to take the election away from Hillary. They even stated, Nate Cohn of the New York Times stated, Clinton has a solid electoral college lead 3 days before the election. They lost. They needed to save face. It's pretty simple. This is not rocket science. They started surveillance of Carter Page because with Carter Page, he was the perfect person to set up and frame. He never did anything wrong, yet he was in the Steele dossier, which is completely and utterly debunked. It's a bunch of nonsense. Where's the dossier with Clinton? Where's the dossier that says that the Golden Muumuu, Madam Cyberhack, enjoys bodily fluids being rained down upon her? Enjoy the visual. That could be a great campaign commercial. But for either Clinton 2020 or Trump 2020. But why do you think that they went after Carter Page and they told him to falsify? FBI wanted false testimony about Russians. Carter Page, August 25th, 2015. Oh, enough of me blabbering. Listen to Carter Page himself.
Testify in the Southern District of New York
on that
one
case.
Of the cases. Yeah. And listen, there were so many falsehoods and misrepresentations in their indictment the prior year. I said, I am not going to lie in court. Similar to these false court filings, which the DOJ and the FBI had submitted in this case. And so it was a long back and forth with them, but I told them, I am a man of my word, and I'm not going to, provide false testimony like they've done. And very similar between the false testimony, which they did in that case against the Russians, and the false testimony which they did a few months later in October of 2016 with their the start of the FISA abuse.
So you never actually testified in the spy ring circus, in terms of that. But this all goes to government informants. You could also look.
And speaking of informants, they had Stephen Halper embedded in Trump's campaign, trying to cause havoc, and they're paying him. He was on a government payroll. This academic and this person who has infiltrated campaigns before, they got this guy to try to set up and frame Papadopoulos. He was also trying to go after Carter Page. They had nothing, so they had to create, and Comey, Strzok, and McCabe, and Clapper, and Brennan, and all of them. If you read my Federalist articles, especially the one shared by Rush Limbaugh below in the pinned comment, you will see that they had nothing in all the quote-unquote evidence. There was no evidence. There was zero evidence. Okay, quoting the intelligence community that comes out with 2 intelligence reports that say, actually, verbatim, judgments should not be confused as fact, and we are not certain. The U.S. government is not certain about anything. They're only the intelligence community is only confident to highly confident. So highly confident to moderately confident. That's it. They're not certain. The Director of National ODNI report and the Department of Homeland Security reports, these are the 2 reports before the Mueller probe. They do not list any evidence that Trump worked with Russia. They don't even list any evidence that the DNC was hacked by Russia in a way that's stated with certainty. They are not certain. If you look at the actual, sorry, my phone. If you look at the actual reports, you will see that the ODNI report right here, estimative language consists of 2 elements: judgments about the likelihood of developments or events occurring and levels of confidence in the sources and analytical reasoning supporting the judgments. Judgments are not intended to imply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. So if your girlfriend or your boyfriend asks you, honey, do you love me? And you say, well, I can answer that, but judgments are not intended to imply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. They're not going to look at you in a loving manner. Okay? I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Do you also feel the same way? Well, honey, judgments are not intended to imply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. The chart below approximates how judgments are likely correlate with percentages. Of likelihood correlate with percentages. Unless otherwise stated, the intelligence community judgments are not derived via statistical analysis. They don't even assign their judgments to a number. Like, they're not 80% certain, 90%. They're just, we judge, we assess, and it's likely, it's almost no chance to almost certainly. Not certainly and not no chance. When it comes to the nonsense that they spew, anything's possible, and just you gotta roll with the punches, and it doesn't really matter because you know what? It's the intelligence community, and they can provide people like Michael Isikoff with anything they'd like. And then you have, quote unquote, very esteemed and respected journalists like Mr. Isikoff and others who will then, say that, this is what the intelligence community feels, and then you'll get the rest of the world, including these people, to give the narrative as if it were fact, when it's not fact, when it's certainly not fact. Judgments are not intended to imply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. Okay? So, that is just one of... But if you look at high confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Such judgments, the judgments that they make, might be wrong. So they had Carter Page try to falsify testimony. Let's continue.
Look at Patrick Byrne from Overstock.com, right?
Yeah. Well, it's, basically the
All right.
government taking control of people's lives, right? You look, I've lost tens or hundreds of millions.
Okay, so it's the show is ending, so I don't want to get into the whole ending of the show here. Look, the bottom line is this: they utilized and they went after. They utilized and they went after innocent people because millions of Democrats wanted retribution. They did not care. The authoritarians are the Democratic Party who used the United States government to fabricate the most ridiculous hoax and myth and bogus nonsensical narrative that Russia interfered in the election to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. And now you have Carter Page being out there with Maria Bartiromo saying, look, they told me to falsify testimony. It's all to pave the way for Clinton 2020. That's why it's not that I was obsessed over something. I am telling you, do you really think, ladies and gentlemen, do you really think that the same media that said Clinton was going to win and the same media that said Trump was going to get indicted because of working with Putin to hack the DNC, and the same media that said he was going to obstruct justice, and the same media that yells at the top of its lungs, of their lungs every single day from 2015 onward, not when he was running The Apprentice, but that, oh my God, he's a racist, he's horrible, he's a monster, he's an ogre. You think the same media is suddenly going to tell you, oh yeah, get ready for Clinton to run again because this has all been a theatrical performance and farce to ensure that everything is morally relative? Of course not. They haven't gotten the memo yet to, you just shoe on head today on Twitter. She's awesome. Sub to her channel. The channel's below in the pinned comment, also the description. She's great. She's just a wonderful voice. She's a wonderful voice. She's awesome. I agree with a lot of what she stands for, what she says. And she does it in a really, really awesome, amusing, interesting, funny manner. And when she tweeted that today with the email, hey, do you think Hillary should run? Clinton was never not running. And it's just hilarious how people would say, oh my goodness, you're just doing this, because it's provocative. Well, what's provocative about having the most qualified person run? What would be provocative is if the media and the Democratic Party realized or admitted that all of this was to pave the way for Clinton 2020. They utilized the United States government in a manner that was illegal, in a manner that was not just unethical, that was sinister, to set up and frame individuals, to paint them as Russian operatives, and to dig into a well of this 50, 60-year-old Cold War. This is part of our psyche as Americans, unfortunately. Now, if you have any critical thinking, you know that there shouldn't have been a new Cold War because of alleged Russian hacking that wasn't even proven. Such judgments might be wrong. That's what the ODNI and DHS reports. They cannot state with certainty. And the indictments of Russian intelligence officers are based on CrowdStrike, which was outsourced by the Democratic Party. If you flipped the script, you would never allow the Republicans to hire a tech firm to tell the U.S. government, hey, you don't have to look at our servers, just trust us because we hired this tech firm. Well, why would you trust a tech firm hired by the people making the claims? The United States government has to look at the hardware and the software and the computers that it's basing foreign policy and domestic policy on. Then you have a hilarious, ridiculous, just a ridiculous Steele dossier that's just nonsense, complete and utter nonsense. But if you look at this, so there's a chance Hillary might join the race, and I'm losing my mind. Should Hillary run? This is a graphic. And then right next to the dinner with $50,000 a plate. So, I mean, you're going to spend $50,000 a plate? Of course not. You wouldn't, but it's called graft and bribery. A lot of people would. This is slowly going to come out, ladies and gentlemen. She'll eventually formally, quote-unquote formally, introduce her campaign almost certainly after the third debate, when they realize they have absolutely nobody who can come close of even touching President Trump in the election. She has to outspend Trump 2-1. She'll raise $2 billion to Trump's $1 billion, and she'll still lose again, and she'll take the Democratic Party down with her into the abyss of madness and failure, which will be fantastic. And it'll vindicate everything that I've been saying. Everyone who told you to vote for Clinton in 2016 will be the same people who told you to vote for Clinton in 2020. What they said and what they say in between is just nonsense. Okay? Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. And it's happening, ladies and gentlemen. And Carter Page is just one of the people whose lives they tried to ruin just to pave the way for Clinton 2020. Thank you.